Good morning. Hi, I'm Leonora Rhodes, and this is Joseph Varghese.
That's right. Yeah, glad to be here, Leonora. Thanks for
um,
having me.
so thank you for joining us this morning on this Zoom video call, Joseph. And please tell us a little bit about who you are and why I'm talking to you today.
Of course, yeah. So my name is Joseph Varghese. I organize a community called the New York Powerteam. I also organize accountability circles called Success Circles, which stems from my work with the Power Team many years ago. I'm very passionate about personal development and growth. I believe in the whole idea of making today better than yesterday, constant improvement. Some distinctions I've learned over the years doing this work. Happily married, have a beautiful wife. She's a physician. I know you're a physician too. It's your background too as well. Also, Leonora. We have two beautiful children. We have a 3-year-old daughter, and we have a son. And I just have a lot of fun in my life. Honestly, I do everything that brings me lots of fulfillment, and it's come out of this journey doing a lot of work. Formerly, I'm an engineer. I have a background in chemical and computer engineering. I left that world years ago, and some of my clients call me the breakthrough engineer because I kind of engineer breakthroughs as a connector with the unique work I do, partnerships I arrange within success circles and other businesses I'm involved with. That's about it. That's who I
That's
am.
fabulous. Thank you. Thank you. So, Joseph, as you know, I am in the process of setting up the Connecticut Power Team, and we launched this week on the 31st of January in
Awesome.
Stamford, Connecticut. And so a lot of people have been asking me, what is a power team? So could you just give us a brief overview of what that term power team really means?
Of course, yeah. So in the US, the term is called Power Team. In the UK and Australia, other areas, they may call it a yes group. And basically, the idea stems from it's kind of a mastermind. Initially, 20, 30 years ago, that started out of people who attended a Tony Robbins event as a way of means of connecting forward and meeting in person and sharing ideas, helping each other reach their goals and support each other with their businesses, particularly with this theme of empowerment, right? And for me, empowerment means taking responsibility, adding value, being my best self, using these tools that are taught in these seminars and events. Now, so although the Power Team started as a concept around Tony Robbins by people, that by not by that organization, but just by people wanting to continue that forward, meeting monthly. Um, it's evolved into much more, at least here in New York or Connecticut, where you're at. Just people, from all walks of life who are into growth, transformation, development, helping each other, meeting in person. There's something about meeting in person. I find that really takes things up a notch. And you know, I'll talk about my own genesis into the Power Team shortly. I'll as you ask further questions away. But that's the Power Team for me is just like a community of people who engage, meet each other mainly in person, also virtually too as well,
Yeah.
where we support each other with our goals. With this theme of empowerment, it's very rare you're able to walk into or have a community of people who are empowered. A lot of people out there, particularly in a world that's so busy with a lot of noise,
Yeah.
they're overwhelmed, right? They're often on the other side of being empowered. Perhaps maybe they're more of the consciousness of being overwhelmed or victims or and it's just something when you're around people who are resourceful, who
Yeah.
can help you drive you forward to your dreams. There's something extraordinary about that, I find.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just talking to somebody yesterday about the difference between a power team and a business meetup. There's a lot of business meetups, for people who are entrepreneurs or people who are in bigger businesses. But a power team's slightly different. This is for people, as you say, from all walks of life. So there'll be some people who are entrepreneurs, and there'll be some people who are employees who just want to be living a better life and take their life to the next level and have adventures and all that kind of thing. And that's what I personally like about the Power Team compared to a business meetup. It's a very diverse group of people, and you get people in their early 20s through to people in their 80s, and I just love that. That variety is, I think, pretty healthy. So that's
Yes.
great. Thank you. So tell
Yeah.
me how you got started with the New York Power Team.
So I did my first Tony Robbins event back in 2003. And within the next few months, I tapped into the community. Actually, I went to a meeting And it was difficult to find back then. We didn't have a meetup group. They had a Yahoo community. Somehow someone mentioned it. I should check this out. I joined the Yahoo group at the time, went to my first meetup. I think in the first 2 months I was hooked. The Powerteam community had come together to help a woman who was help a grandmother who was going through a very challenging time. Her daughter was murdered, and it was a very challenging time. They had just done a basket brigade that year, and Rich Cooper, I spoke to, who lives in Connecticut, he visited this family and delivering them a basket, just simply Thanksgiving baskets. But a basket brigade is something we do now these days. We have a nonprofit where we deliver to these families before Thanksgiving a full Thanksgiving meal. So back then, Rich and one other person made this delivery. I think Dan Tompkins was his name, and they were so moved by the scene, this horrific scene that happened there was when grandmother lost her daughter. So they made it a mission to come together as a community with other power teamers to help this family rebuild their house. So they did a home makeover. They took the kids out to a Radio City Music Hall. They basically took the family out. They got them an apartment in Manhattan to stay overnight, not like a hotel in Manhattan. Yeah. While in the process, they redid their home, up there in that area, Westchester. And when I saw that, it really stirred something within me, and I was hooked. I said, I want to be part of something of this sort, and to be part of something where people are contributing, raising standards, growing. It's very unique. So I was hooked at that point, from that point onwards, and started attending meetings monthly. Back then, like I said, there weren't other competitive meetups of that sort. So this was it, and it was extraordinary. And come 2010, there was an opportunity to lead it because the two other leaders prior to that, Carson and Ross, they moved elsewhere or they moved on to other projects. Ross moved to the West Coast, and Frank and I came together to co-lead it, it's been really a delicious journey ever since.
Oh, that's great. And I've attended a couple of meetings recently, and the energy that you guys have going at those meetings is really contagious. And yes. I definitely left both meetings feeling that I wanted more, and which, I was already thinking about setting up the Connecticut team, but it just reinforced for me that I really needed to do that.
Proximity is power. Proximity.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the tagline of the Connecticut Powerteam group: is proximity is power.
Awesome.
So tell me, what kind of people would you see at a Powerteam event, and what do you think they get out of it?
So people who've attended an event, it could be any event of that sort, whether it be Tony Robbins or another organization, Landmark Education, people who've read books, maybe Think and Grow Rich, maybe they've read the Four Agreements. They want something more. They want a community that they can tap into where people have similar values, where they can exchange ideas, thoughts, help each other, mastermind. So it goes beyond a BNI meeting because you have people who are innately resourceful, who want to kind of help each other, knowing that we're all kind of on a very similar playing field, right? Mm-hmm. So that's there. I think also Frank and I would bring this intentionality into it as well, also where we bring that commitment toward people helping each other. And I believe a lot of the leaders, including yourself, we bring that intention into it. So it's less about salesy. It's more about really people helping each other. We're always finding more opportunities to be able to do that. We track people who are different levels, whether they're, employees, whether they're traveling, whether they're, entrepreneurs. It's just the common thing is that there's this commitment toward getting uncomfortable, knowing that on the other side of getting uncomfortable is realizing our dreams, being able to have a full kind of wheel of life, being able to tap into that, getting mastery in our success, in our health, in our finances, in our relationships. And it's so juicy being able to do that. Like everything I have has come out of knowing someone, meeting someone in our community, much everything I have over the years.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So thank you, Joseph. Those are wonderful insights. And if you could just give us like one last take home of, what you have got most out of the Powerteam.
So I mentioned a little while ago, every opportunity I have. I mean, even from the wedding ring, my wife's asking someone at a meeting what they recommended, like everything. I'd say the biggest thing that came out of it is my own purpose in life. So in 2003, after my first Tony Robbins event, I started an event company called Metrofly, We would adopt a charity each month or a fundraiser, and it was great, right? It was great, but I'd say the intentionality around it was not as clear and strong as it could be around really helping people. And we threw parties in New York. So in 2005, when I did another program with Tony, came out of that event, it became very clear what the next step would be, right? Inspiring leadership. So the Power Team is giving me a vehicle toward inspiring leadership, toward living my own purpose each day. And we have we have a nonprofit now called the Basket Brigade. We feed thousands of people each year. Before a Power Team meeting, also back in 2005, after the specific event I went to, I started a community that became Success Circles. It's a peer
Yeah.
coaching community. And it's given me a whole other level of purpose to live, to add value in the world, because every day I know I get texts and messages from our members who, just through this idea of accountability, peer coaching, peer accountability, peer momentum,
Yeah.
we're able to help each other realize their goals, their dreams through daily conversations, recognizing that maybe perhaps one conversation might change your life. So the conversations we have within Success Circles are more virtually versus the Power Team's more in person,
Yeah.
more in person meetup. So for me, I've gotten my life because I've built a whole career around this that was
Yeah.
unthought of, because before this I was an engineer. I was a chemical engineer. I was a process computer engineer, and to be able to do something I love, be able to work at home, and continually get feedback that and I know we talked about feedback before this, that the work we do is changes lives, which I know your path to being a coach, right? I'm sure there's fulfillment from knowing that, each conversation that you put forward, coaching a client, can change your life. There's deeper
Yeah.
fulfillment toward that versus some of the other options we have, career wise, that, may be more lucrative, but
Yeah.
I think accessing fulfillment is one of the greatest things the Power Team's provided me. This whole sense of deep gratitude, connection, depth, with people, relationships, and that's one of the greatest things I've gotten out of being in this community. I've gotten my whole life, my purpose, my marriage, the accountability that's taken me to be the leader, the man that my wife was attracted to. I wouldn't be able to be that if it weren't for continually reinforcing that each month, Power Team meetings and finding greater ways to contribute to the world and to New York and so forth.
That's beautiful. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Joseph. And for everybody that's watching, if you live in Connecticut or Westchester County, I hope we've kind of given you some more insight into what a Power Team meeting is. And as I say, we launched the first Connecticut, it's called Connecticut Power Team, but we're also covering Westchester County. Launches this Thursday, the 31st, 7 to 9 p.m. In Stamford. And I'll have the details of the meeting below this video. So thank you again, Joseph. Thank you so much for your time, and hope to catch up with you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Leonora.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Goodbye.